What is up? Welcome into the Creed of Crypto podcast, your number one place for immersive, essential, and evergreen strategies for the novice cryptocurrency investor. How you doing? I'm one half your host, Boi Crypto. We've got Crypto Ewok here with me, my friend and co-host as well. And we have got a hell of an episode here for you tonight because we just found out about a half an hour ago, a little bit over that. Great timing by Richard Hart that PulseChain Testnet version 3 is indeed live. So we're going to cover that. The Hex Price, as you can see in the thumbnail, which has been on fire, and even more so now, of course, with this announcement. We got a lot to get to tonight. FOMC, a whole bunch of crap is, in terms of legacy finance that, this little ecosystem of Hex and Pulse Chain doesn't really give a shit about at all right now. So, Ewok, great time tonight. How you feeling? What do you think about the news?
Good time to be alive, man. I'm pretty excited. Good to see it finally go live. We've been getting teased for about a week and a half, and finally, you said it earlier too. That tweet that Richard put out. How's everyone doing today? It's a good time. It's a good time. So we both had a feeling that something was up, and sure enough, it V3 launched, and here we go, off to the races.
Off to the races indeed, and we're going to break down pretty much every angle of that here in a moment. We're going to lead the show off with that instead of our normal format. But if you are here and enjoy the content tonight, do us a favor and hit the like, whichever channel you are watching us on. Subscribe as well. We very much appreciate it. Helps us supporting the channel. So, we're going to get to what's going on with Bitcoin. We're going to get to FOMC. And hey, there's a lot of stuff. The SEC is going after everybody. It's kind of at the point now where it's like, oh, I got a Wells notice. Who cares? It's a Wednesday. So, but Ewok has the Hex chart up. I feel like we should first talk about just the fact that Richard has announced V3 and then really get into this kind of recent crazy price action. Because it was crazy leading up to today. Now it's going to get even crazier. But so this has been anticipated, obviously, for quite some time. We finally have PulseChain V3 here. I think the most interesting angle of this Ewok, and this is something you and I have talked about this now for a while, and I think we're both being proven correct on this based on what Richard's saying. I love that he has already said, be warned that once V3 is live, that is your notice that the real thing could be here anytime, and you should just be on notice. I think that's always kind of been the way he wanted to do it.
Yep,
and,
I agree.
So what are your thoughts on that? I don't want to get, a step ahead of ourselves already. I guess I'll have to ask you this too, but how soon do you think we'll be until mainnet? And what kind of kinks do you think are going to need to be worked out here in V3?
Well, as we know, I think the V3 private testnet has been running for some time. They've been working on it. They've been banging it. They've been trying to get all the kinks out of it. I don't know what's left. It's been pretty well tested. I don't know how many people. That's the only thing we really don't know is how many people, were using it, right? So is it going to have any effect? It shouldn't. With the volume of people that are going to be in there now on it, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. When he says just final testnet, mainnet may launch anytime now, does that mean a week? Are we going to get a week? Are we going to get a couple days? I really I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know how much other work needs to be done. But usually with Richard, he likes to put things out pretty complete. Like I don't see too many more updates being done. So I know they were working on the validator settings, something about batch validators. Now, I guess if you've got enough money to create several validators and run them simultaneously, you would run a batch transaction. And that was one of the last things that we saw the update from this afternoon. But it could be any day. Like I really think they're gonna give it a couple days, maybe a week tops at this point. That's wishful thinking again. Who really knows? He said he could let it run a couple weeks too. He had said that in the past as well. So it just means there's no warning. So the one thing I do recommend is if you had any of the weight tokens, you better claim them because otherwise they go away. So just a little hint that if you sacrificed for anything, whether it be PulseChain, PulseX, any of the fiat famous, any of those things, you were awarded weight tokens, and rumor has it that the weight tokens will be used to lower the fees on the OX Coast
On
fiat
ramp.
on and off ramp. Yes. So if you have weight tokens, it will lower the fees. I think that was just the rumor. So you might as well claim them now, unless you like pushing, if pushing, living on the edge.
Right.
Who knows how long it'll be, and you may get a few more than waiting, but I would do it. So yeah, that's what I think. I think soon. I think a week maybe.
Right. Yeah, I saw somebody just a bit ago on Twitter, and of course, everybody's really absorbing this right now. I mean, we're within the hour that Richard announced this, but I saw somebody earlier say, 1 to 12 weeks or something, just as a wide gap. I'm with you, Ewok. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just urgency of the moment type of thing. I think that it is kind of rational to think that this could be the real thing. I'd be surprised if if it were more than 3 weeks, I think I'd be really surprised at this point, because we've always known that Richard wants this to be as fair as possible for the people that he cares about most, which are people that are obviously hexagons and pulsechins and everything else.
Yep.
And those hardcore users are going to be, they have his notifications on, they're tweeting about him all day long and stuff like that. So they're going to be aware of this. They're going to be messing around with a test net as much as you possibly can. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
And yeah, to me, it would be like a week seems pretty valid, honestly. It's like, if you haven't been able to get in there to do just something within a week, it's not like you need to be a wizard on this or anything. If you've been able to just mess around a bit, I mean, if you've ever used like Uniswap and stuff like that, you're going to understand how PulseX works. It's not going to be anything that complicated, but
there are some different things. Don't forget,
yes,
you've got the earn where you can do the farms and the pools and the things like that. So it is a little different than your standard Uniswap. It's a little bit more like sushi, I think. But I'm sorry, I cut you off in the middle of what you were saying.
No. I was just saying that, like, I can't imagine him really caring about, providing that much more time. Anybody that would be like, past like 2 weeks, anybody that was like, I feel like I didn't get enough, experience with this before mainnet or whatever. It's like, where the hell have you been? I mean, you've had multiple test nets here, and then you get a couple of weeks with the last one. So, and again, with Richard wanting to benefit those core holders, we've always talked about, like, you may get very little notice, and it's a couple of days until mainnet comes out. So, I think the things he's saying right now are prepping those people for that, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's just
we hit 12 cents, by the way.
Yeah. So obviously this news, and if you want to go ahead and pull the chart back up, Ewok, we can take a look at that as well. So obviously this news slungshot the Hex price here over the last hour. Throughout the day, I mean, obviously it already had been trading extremely bullishly. I don't know, if you've been looking at anything for even the last 3 months, I mean, it's been very bullish, obviously, for Hex. We're 3 months about to the day off of the lows because it was the week of Christmas. So I'll never really forget that period. And I mean, we've been basically oscillating between 9 and 10 cents here for a few days. And then you see that God green candle right now that you have up, Ewok. And just crossing 12 cents here off the news.
Yep.
So what do you make of this? I mean, the thumbnail tonight, and we were going to wait. I was going to wait to get to this towards kind of the second half of the show, but we obviously had to lead with this story.
Sure. Why wait?
Well, and part of my question was going to be like, in the short term, when V3 is officially announced, what do you think the price will do? Well, now we're actually living it live, so I don't even necessarily have to ask you that. But I mean, the effects of this could go on for a few days and weeks.
Yeah.
So kind of give me a review of what you've seen with the Hex price since the lows in December, around 1.5 to 1.9 cents. And look, at this point, I know I'm taking a victory lap here and stuff, but like if you didn't buy those lows, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like you just capitulated or
Yeah.
you weren't focusing. I mean, because it wasn't a fleeting moment. It was the entire week. And I know I've said this before, but like it was the entire week of Christmas. It was a time, whatever, there's, not even a lot going on. You had plenty of time to be buying. If you wanted to buy 2 cent hex or likely lower,
Yeah.
you could have done it at that time. And
Yep.
a lot of people didn't. So, that's never coming back. But
No, it's
yeah,
not.
let's
And
take it
I think a lot of people were waiting for penny or under, and it never happened. And now it got to, it got away from them. It got to 5 cents, and now they're pissed that they missed their penny, and they're like, "Well, I'll wait." And then it got to 7 cents, and they're like, "Well, okay, I'll wait till it pulls back to 5." And so these people are doing this to themselves, talking themselves into, well, instead of just pushing the button and doing it, they're talking themselves into maybe catching a dip. And man, with the news now, I still think my target of 15 to 20 cents by the time we go live is very possible. You saw what happened here in the last, 45 minutes, maybe. We ran pretty much from, mid 10.5 cents, and now we're at 12. So, and you got to remember, half the world's asleep right now. So,
Right.
yeah, it could get away from people. And I just think that mentally, every time they would see the price go up, they would say, all right, well, maybe I'll get in on a pullback. And they just keep talking themselves out of it for some reason, rather than doing what we've always kind of suggested, and that's dollar costing in at certain levels. Just throw a little in every paycheck, or do whatever you want. Again, no financial advice, but if you're trying to catch some dips, you should be buying more regularly than just
Right.
waiting for something to go all in with. It's just not a smart move, because when the price runs, it gets away from you and you'll never get it back. We may never ever see these levels again. Now, when Pulse Chain launches, we get the free copy. You may see a pullback then, but no guarantee, because this is all kind of new, right? We
Yeah,
don't
right.
know what's going to happen. It could balance itself out like a stock split, and technically split itself in half. Uh, but at that point, you're going to miss the copy. So what are you really waiting for? Is it, the pullback that happens may just leave you behind anyway, because now you only have one of them. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's basically like I think people were just overthinking things. Like there's so many ways to play this, but there's not a lot of ways to fail. And if you're failing, like with all the different options to play this that we've had over the last, basically since you knew the Pulse chain was even a thing and that a copy was going to be possible. I mean, like we've talked for a year now, a year and a half since we've been doing the show,
yeah,
that the play was really just to buy Hex. I mean, clearly that's always been the thing because you're going to get the copy in the end. And yeah, I think people just were so interested in timing the bottoms. And we're going to talk about like market psychology and stuff like that as we go on through the show tonight, because it's a lot. Even me saying this won't change people's minds. Like it's a lot harder to make those buys among the red candles and all the bad news. It's much easier said than done. I mean,
yeah,
like you feel, actual, butterflies in your stomach, like physical pain whenever you're doing that stuff, because you always think you're catching a falling knife and it's going to go lower. And to your pointy walk about DCAing, if there's something that you're not in yet, or maybe it's a different level of price for Hex as it's going up or going down or whatever, just take a position. Like if like by the next time I get paid, like if you have $1,000 or something like that, just put a third of it in, because it's going to calm you down regardless of where the price goes. Like
right.
whether it shoots up even more, it's like, oh, cool, man. Well, at least I got in a little bit on that lower floor. Or if it, goes back down, it's like, well, now I can take it. Either way, it's going to make you feel more comfortable because you at least got a leg in the door. So
Yep.
doing that, like you were saying, Ewok, yeah, you can't put the whole kit and caboodle on one price target. Otherwise, your capo of crypto or whatever his name is on Twitter
Mm.
that still is waiting for 10K. So yeah, you can't just time it all. Get your leg in the door. I agree with you.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I agree. And there's nothing wrong with buying now either. I mean,
mhm.
we are going to go higher. Richard has always said, what's 10 cents when you're on the way to 100 anyway, $100. So,
Right.
it does hurt the X's. Yeah, if you could have, if you could have gotten at 1.7 cents or 2 cents even, that's a 5x, 6x now
Mhm.
from 2 cents now that we're at 12. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's just you're slowly dwindling away just by waiting. The
Mhm.
chances of more X's in returns.
And think about, like, for anybody who's worried about FOMOing in right at this very moment, which, if that's you, then okay. But remember, like, there are people still, um, smart people that bought at 50 cents
Yeah,
a year and a half ago. So, I mean, you're still getting coins upon coins that, based on that buy right now than what they got. So, um,
yeah,
perspective, like you said.
yeah, and hopefully some of those people that did that, you know, dollar costed a little bit more on the way down, to lower that average buy-in price. That's kind of the idea when you buy high and something starts to go down. If you have faith in it and you believe in what it is, which, you and I obviously do. I can't speak for everybody. It could eventually go to zero. We just don't know. But when you have strong faith about a product like this, um, you know, the smart thing is to dollar cost on the way down to lower your average buy-in price. So when it does rocket back up, you're not sitting at 50-cent average anymore. You're more like 10, 15, whatever it may be.
Right. Right. I want to ask you this because some of these people that are seeing a new testnet right now may not have ever experienced this before. And if you guys are here and in the chat and are digging the video, please do hit the like. We very much appreciate it. It helps grow our channels. But I want to ask you this, Ewok. For the people here that are seeing a testnet kind of for the first time, which could be a decent amount of people. I mean, like, it's been a long enough time that maybe they haven't seen this. What kind of recommendations do you have based on your past experiences with previous test nets, or what maybe what you may have the ability to do on the test net for V3 right now? What would you recommend people do? Like, if they're in there playing around, what would you want to familiarize yourself with the most right now, and what do you think is the most imperative to kind of get the hang of before mainnet is launched?
So you're gonna definitely want to check out PulseX.
Hmm.
Here, I'm gonna share this tab.
So this is basically Pulse Chain's version of Uniswap, and again,
Correct.
it does more than Uniswap. But if you've used an interface like Uniswap, Sushi Swap, Spooky Swap, Pancake Swap, whatever,
Right.
I've never really used Pancake Swap, but you'll be a little bit familiar with what PulseX looks like. So
Right.
anyway,
So the well, the first thing you want to do obviously is get the right RPC settings to your MetaMask so that you can log into the right network. I posted them on my Twitter. Thankfully, Hodl Dog was the first one, so I retweeted his. Um, when Richard tweeted his RPC settings out, he was missing the HTTPS
way to go,
colon.
Richard.
So if you copied and pasted his and it didn't work, that's why. You need the HTTPS in there for that to work. So that being said, once you enter your settings, um, the first thing that he posted was the PulseX exchange. So I would just get in here and get familiar with it. Now you're going to need the wallet that you sacrificed with if you had any, or another one. I think maybe if you had any coins on any wallet, you should see an air or the test net airdrop of whatever it may be. So you might have to look for your coins. Now these ones are the only ones that are here currently, but you could search for I don't know, even let's see,
Polkadot, like any
what's that dot?
ERC20 or
Let's see if dot is
Dot.
here.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not
Yeah, I
yet.
didn't know if that function would be working yet or
Yeah,
not,
I
but
didn't know either.
yeah.
But right now, if you've got Hex or Pulse, or I do see the incentive token is here and live. So, um,
Yep.
That is pretty cool. And you can easily click the Fox and it will add the token right to your MetaMask wallet when you do that. So that's pretty cool too. It saves you from having to add them manually. So that's nice. I don't know if is my MetaMask popping up when I do that?
Nope, I don't see it.
It's not.
No.
Okay.
I thought you didn't want it to, but
well, I did kind of want it to.
Okay.
Because I don't have anything on this MetaMask anyway. It's a blank
I gotcha.
wallet. There is a Faucet as well. Here, I'm going to share this tab as well. It just starts with faucet.v3.testnet.pulsechain.com. You can go in here and receive 10 pulse per request. You have to have a little bit of gas because for me, oh wait, it worked.
Oh, it did?
They must have fixed it.
Oh, cool. All right.
We'll see if it pops up. Yeah, you have to wait. So you get 10 pulse per 24 hours. Let's see if it got them to me yet. Yep, I just got 10 pulse. So that's cool. So that works. They fixed that. So I guess you don't need to have any. I was going to say you had to have some in there for your gas fee, but it gave me 10 test pulse right away. So that's cool. But yeah, so I mean, check it out. Check out the trading. Try and do some trades. See how quick they are. You've got your exchange, which is the regular swap back and forth, and you have liquidity. So you could also provide liquidity into the network and earn fees that way. Play around with that stuff. That way you know what it's like and you can see kind of what might happen. Again, you may want to do this rather quickly because we don't know how long it's going to be testnet.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can switch between the exchange and liquidity, and then you can go into the earn and you can stake your LP tokens as well, and you earn that incentive token. So when you create a pair, you're going to farm essentially the incentive token. So make sure if you do set something in the pool to go into here and check and see as well, because you're going to end up earning from here too. So it's pretty cool. That was the way it was on the last one anyway. I know there was at one point single-sided. I don't see it here. There was single-sided PulseX staking that was in the original one too. I don't see that now, so I don't know if they'll be bringing that back at all. We'll have to wait and see on that. Am I even sharing my screen?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine that that would be there. But yeah, I imagine there's probably going to be some things trickling in. Like you were saying, the faucet hadn't been working properly a moment ago. But
yep, it looks like they got that fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
but yeah, it's definitely going to be important for people to just to see the interface, play around with it a little bit, familiarize yourself with it, because when this is actually here, there's going to be so much activity and so much FOMOing of people mainly doing things that are going to be terrible, probably long-term decisions. But if you want to be in there making terrible decisions, you want to make sure that you're actually using the testnet right now and figure out how to do it. But even if you're making good decisions, that too. So yeah, it's going to be very important. And if you're me, for example, and I was saying this to you, Ewok, before we went on the air, my big thing to acquire more Pulse or PulseX or whatever it may be, and it's no secret, we've talked about it before. The main thing here for most hexagons, they're going to be pretty unbalanced between they have more PulseX than they do Pulse Chain. A lot more people sacrifice for PulseX than Pulse Chain.
Yeah.
Quite simply, I think just because it was, 6 months later sacrifice.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people may have missed that,
Right. So I guess my point is something that I've been saying, and maybe this isn't going to be much of a problem for other hexagons, but if you do hold stuff that is an ERC20 that isn't Hex ecosystem stuff, my inclination, and I don't know, maybe I'll be wrong on this long term, but I certainly can't even remotely imagine being wrong on it. I feel like I'm going to want to dump anything that's ERC20 right away over there and get whatever I want to get. I mean, we saw how even the USDC value plummeted on, what was it? Ethereum proof of work, right?
Yep, it did. Well, when it launched, it just wasn't worth anything anyway. Like immediately, it was a couple cents on the dollar, I think, is what you got. Maybe 8 cents on the dollar.
Right.
So yeah, until those other communities come over, if they ever do, you know, who knows what they'll be worth. And if you can get a decent trade price right out of the gate while it's early, yeah, I agree with you. Take advantage of it while you can. I did post the Faucet link in both your channel and mine. So
sweet. All right.
They have that. About everything with Marty just said, what exchange sells Hex?
That's what I was just going to acknowledge too. The only exchange that I know that I don't even know how you pronounce it or say it. That MEXC or whatever, MEXC. I know they apparently had just listed Hex. Other than that, I mean, it's mainly smaller ones. Not many people have heard of. I mean, I certainly prefer Uniswap at this moment.
Yep, Uniswap, CalSwap, Dex Screener, whatever. You can do that. You could trade right on your MetaMask wallet, which I don't recommend doing because they have pretty hefty fees. I know HitBTC has it. There's another one too, and I forget what it is. But if you go on the any of the market cap ranking sites, Nomics is one. If you click on it and you hit exchanges after you click on Hex, it'll tell you all the different markets that are out there, Marty, so you can find whatever you want. So
yeah, good call. I wasn't even thinking, yeah, you can just do that. I'm trying to load it right now, but yeah, we're at 12.5 cents now. Hex up almost 30% over the last 24 hours. Weird. Nomics actually won't even list the oh, there it is. Yeah. Bit True, it looks like. Trade Ogre.
yeah.
Yeah. And
I
then
had
it's
an
mainly a
account
bunch
with
of
Trade
swaps.
Ogre, I think.
Did you?
Sure.
Are you serious?
I think I still do.
Never heard of them. Okay. It probably isn't accurate on here. That's all they really list of it anyway. And then it's just like Uniswap. So yeah, I know that MEXC exchange definitely just listed it, but
yeah. And HitBTC is another one too.
Yeah, I said that.
They have decent liquidity.
Or no, you did. Yeah, I said Bit True.
But Coinbase does not have Hex. Your Coinbase wallet, you can swap through your Coinbase wallet, but Coinbase itself, the platform, does not sell Hex.
Right.
So.
Right. Coinbase. There we go. Now let's just cross 13 cents. Is this thing? My God, this is like watching a damn. This doesn't even seem real right now.
I'm still seeing 12.5.
I don't know. Maybe Nomics is Jesus. Yeah, it is going all over the place. I got 12.2 one place. I had 13 a second ago on Nomics.
So the thing with Nomics is they're pulling from all the different ones. So if there are any exchanges that have lower liquidity, that number is going to skew it. As far as this goes, this is just the Uniswap price on this. So
yeah, that's the best thing to really look at. So I guess kind of finishing up on this for now, which I feel like I don't really want to finish up on it. I mean, this is the prime topic here tonight, and there's just so much to discuss. I want to ask you this. Short term, we were going to talk about the Hex price in relation to V3 and mainnet and all that. We're seeing it right before our eyes right now. But I want to get your longer term view, Ewok, as we head into this bull cycle and presumably will be here for the next 2.5 years or so. through 2025 at the very least. I mean, this isn't pinpointed. I know a lot of people have different ideas, but what is your conservative estimate for Hex's top? And I guess I'm talking about EHEX technically, and we can get into that when we think we'll see parity on both chains. But what is your conservative, I guess, median and aggressive kind of price target roughly for Hex over this bull run? Where do you kind of see it going?
Wow. Conservative. Let's do conservative first. I think we easily see between $1.50, $1.75. Easily.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Mid-range, I think $5 is quite possible as well. That's kind of where my target is more between $4.25 and $5 somewhere.
Yeah.
And then if you want my strictly Moon Boy estimate, I think we could get to $16 or $17 if everything works out, in our favor. And it's really going to depend on how many people sell. What's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people that end up with some liquid and just keep getting out. Like they're not going to be able to contain themselves and hold it in order to get that high. I mean, I think it's possible if people don't sell and they're locked up like they should be, earning more. That is possible. Numbers like 17, $20, quite possible. Now, whether it will happen this cycle, I'm not sure. But I could easily see $5 happening. And quite conservative, and that is if everything goes well. The documentary comes out, Pulse Chain launches flawlessly. You end up with 2 coins. Now, yes, that's my ETH target. What's the Pulse side going to do? That's another thing too. So there's a lot of things. Is the majority of the market on the ETH side going to sell off and try to move their stuff over there because it's a lot cheaper for gas? I kind of see what's going to happen is the whales are going to maintain the ETH side of things because they don't care about gas fees. You know what I mean?
True.
I could see them maintaining that side because they don't want to give it away either. I think they'll hold the price up just fine. And then you have a lot of smaller buyers that are going to, even out the other side. The whales may get in there too. Who knows? If they've got enough money, I see parity happening within 6 months. I think you could see an even price on both sides. And then if the liquidity is tied properly, they would technically move together. So we'll see what happens. It could happen even sooner than that. If things go right, one could come down, one could come up. They meet each other. Liquidity gets set, boom, and we're off to the races, and it stays pretty even on both sides. It's kind of like Bitcoin on so many different exchanges. How does it stay so close? Well, it's because of all the arbitrage opportunities, right? They take these opportunities and they'll buy it, even if it's a couple bucks more over here. They'll buy it on this one, sell it over here. And what they do is they keep money on each exchange. And they don't really move it from one to the other. They just technically buy it over here and sell it over here. So their holdings are, it's all about the arbitrage profits. And that's one of the reasons why it's so dangerous to leave money on exchanges. But for the people that arbitrage, or they even have bots that do it for them. So, I see it. Yeah, I see it hitting those levels on both chains, actually. That's why I said 150, 175 on both chains, because then you're really looking at 350 overall.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you get to that $5 target, that's just a cool 300x from the lows. So not too shabby at all. But yeah, that does make a lot of sense. That's what I was thinking too, is like, if $5 is the aggressively realistic target, does that just make 250 on each chain or something, because
Right.
yeah, that would make sense. And something you said that was interesting there too, because a big thing people have been worried about, I guess, for a while is like what will happen to EHEX, like what will happen to the price on that side. And I think you're right that the smaller buyers will be more apt to like cash out of EHEX and move over to Pulse, but smarter, well, I'm not trying to insult smaller buyers, but smarter or bigger whales could, like, not only because they can afford the gas fees more, but could just see the opportunity within scooping up all that EHEX. And that's what I think you have to do with the game theory of this Pulse stuff, is like you have to go I mean, this is with everything in crypto, but you have to go the opposite of the masses. You have that.
Right.
I mean, that's the reason we're all in Hex to begin with, because nobody else is. So, or it still hasn't reached virality or anything yet. But like, yeah, it's going to be like, I could even see wanting to scoop up EHEX if it just like short-term plummets while people move things to Pulse.
Sure.
Because that's going whole value. I mean, how many hexagons are like 90+% staked for up to like a 6-7 year average up to 15 years on Ethereum? Yeah. So that's not going anywhere.
Something else that could happen too is if you get a lot of stakers that move over to Pulse Chain, that share rate could really rocket over there, and the share rate could be a better deal on Ethereum. It just may be a little more expensive to transact. But if you've got a lot of people on Pulse Chain that think, all right, I'm going to do a bunch of these 30-day stakes and over and over and over, because it's pennies, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you only make $5-10 on even smaller transactions, you're still only paying pennies for it. So they may find some value in the shorter staking, but that's also going to increase the share rate on the Pulse side. So you may get a better deal with share rate on the ETH side because people are staked out for longer. So that's going to be another interesting play, something to keep an eye on too.
Yeah, that is interesting. So many ways to play it, and it's going to be coming soon. I mean, again, we already speculated as to when. I think we could be looking at as short as, I don't know, 48 hours, which I kind of doubt, to probably a little over 2 weeks. I think that's might be our gap here. And a lot of people had been thinking, even prior to Richard's tweets these last couple of days, that it would still be months after V3 until, like, people were saying May if we get V3 here in March. I don't know, man. I don't think I see that at this point. I just don't think this is going to last very long.
Nope, I don't either.
Yeah.
I think a conservative estimate is 5 days, give or take.
Man, it's just going to be, I mean, for the hype that's happening right now with a test net, I mean, man, this thing going live is just going to be absolute pandemonium. So, yeah, good news tonight. Richard Hart timing the market. I don't know, timing our show. Yeah, I think he purposely released this news a little over an hour ago to help us
just
with
for
content
us
tonight. Yeah. So,
before we move on, hang
ahead.
on 1 second. The one thing I didn't think about is I don't know how many developers Richard is working with Pulse Chain 2. He's going to want to give them a little bit of time to get things launched on the V3 as well. So, now that I think about it, we may not want to rush it if he wants to get some things. He's a Richard Hart maxi. That's really all he cares about. But he understands that we do need an ecosystem as well, right? If we want this to be successful, there's a lot of people. There's probably 100 projects that are sitting there waiting for V3 to launch, at least so that they can get it running. Now, V3 will continue on into perpetuity, right? It will forever be the test net for Pulse Chain. So they'll be able, anybody that wants to play around and try to launch something can try it on the test net. So I don't know if there's any other developers that are in his ear saying, hey, let's, at least give us so much time to get our stuff up and launched to see if it works before you go crazy and do it within 48 hours. So I didn't even think about that.
That's a good call. Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to get to the point. I mean, look, this thing has been going on for so long already anyway, and has been quote unquote delayed. Why wouldn't why would that not also be the case with that. So, yeah, it's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks. I don't know where this price short term could. I mean, you said it, Ewok. I mean, you thought like 15 to 20 cents after V3 was announced, and we're sitting here still at about 12.2. So, not a far cry till 15. So, yeah, exciting time to be alive. And if you are someone who has sat on the sidelines for whatever reason all this time, even when, I mean, you could have FOMO'd in at 5 cents. I mean, like, things have been bullish again here for quite a while. I don't know if like right now, we already discussed this, is the time to just FOMO in everything at 12 cents after this green God candle on a V3 announcement. But, get a position, not financial advice, but if you don't have one now and you're stressed about it, just get a position, like we said earlier. I mean, I like to, when I'm in a situation like that, I like to put a quarter of whatever stack I might be looking at in, maybe a third, something like that, just so I, have the coins.
Something.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a week away from a copy on PulseChain. Who knows? So you don't want to miss out on that. So
for sure.
Obviously, we'll be following this like hawks and be back again next week to talk about where we're at with everything live. We had a lot of other stuff to get to tonight that, frankly,
really
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Frankly, I didn't think much of this stuff mattered anyway. It's just what's going on in the macroeconomics and stuff like that. But in terms of the broader crypto market, BTC has still been, really, really strong, well up over 28K, pushing 29K. Yeah, it did come down after FOMC today a little bit and had some, market kind of manipulation and stuff and hot trading like it normally does over these announcements. But it has, we've been closing well over 25K for days for BTC. You and I don't need to necessarily get into this disagreement, I guess, again tonight. But I mean, I think things continue to look really, really bullish for crypto overall. Maybe not some of the news that's coming in, but it doesn't. It just does. I just don't think it matters now. I mean, I firmly still believe we're in a bull cycle now. Not only that, a lot of the news that we're seeing come in is government capitulation. It's just like the dollar is failing. You've got, the Fed and Congress at each other's throats about whether to continue to raise raise interest rates or not. And so it's a mess, and we're going to cover a couple of those. But yeah, what do you see with the market, Ewok? And I'll get more specific into what the Fed did today here after that.
So, the funny thing is I keep seeing all over the place we don't understand why people are losing faith in the system. We're trying to make it right. We're trying to fix it. Well, the reason people are losing faith is because they have to tune in to see how much you're going to devalue it every time. How much more are you going to print? How much more interest rates are you going to raise? It's a constant devaluation of the dollar. And then they wonder why people are uncertain and why there's no faith and why the banks, people get their money out of the banks. They want to put it somewhere safer. It just, it baffles me that they're, we know they're not confused about it, obviously, because of the regulations that they're trying to impose against crypto all over the place. Crypto Coffee even said today, he's like, I can't even open a business account if I mention crypto. They run the other way. And it's nobody wants to touch it because the government is coming after the people that are supporting it because it takes from their plan. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting year or so. I think until things work themselves out. We all know they're trying to get the CBDCs started somehow. We know that China and Russia and all these other countries, they've stopped using the dollar in probably half of the trades that they make with each other. So yeah, our currency is in a world of hurt right now. So, even when we value Bitcoin at 27,400, whatever it is, that's dollars, right?
Right.
How much does that really mean? And what is the inflation? How much has that affected the price? We could see a super high Bitcoin, but what does that mean if a Big Mac is $15?
Yeah.
So it's all really relative. And same with Hex Price too. I'm not just picking on Bitcoin. Anything is going to go up in value because everything else costs money too. So people will value crypto even more. So,
Hmm.
again, I have no idea what the FOMC even did. Whether it doesn't matter anymore. Everything is,
It doesn't.
you said it in one of your videos the other day. I caught that. It's all baked in. It really is. It just doesn't matter anymore. I don't think. So
I think you're 100% right. And I think specifically it's all baked in now because we've been at this for a year now. I mean, like we've been at the interest rate thing for a year. There's 60-day gaps in between the meetings. Everybody kind of makes a prediction between then and when it happens. And usually these whatever people 75% chance believe is going to happen is what happens. So that's what we saw today. So just to cover it real quick. So Powell raised interest rates by 25 basis points, which is exactly what most people thought he was going to do. I think the more probable thing other than going to 50 would have been pausing. And actually, I was really shocked that he even said this at one point. But he said that they considered pausing hikes leading up to this meeting, which actually really surprised me that he even would say that. But we all saw, I mean, on national television when Elizabeth Warren and all these other people were like cutting into him as if they aren't the ones who employ him.
right.
A couple of weeks ago, like punishing him like he's a little schoolboy or something like that. And you could just tell that like he still wanted to, stay the course and we're going to do 50 again and everything. And they're just like, you better cut this shit off now, dude. We want to print money again. So,
Yeah.
this country doesn't know how to get along without spending money. I mean, it's
No.
just never going to stop. We already are. We're already bailing out these garbage banks.
Mhm.
And like you said, Ewok, I think it was last week. What's going to happen? I heard Robert Kiyosaki talk about it this week too. All these smaller branch banks that are really good companies and offering good services to people are just going to be folding.
Yep.
And it's going to be run to the banks with the big money that the government is bailing out.
Yeah. Now I'm going to continue to support the smaller banks. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't hold a lot of money in the bank anyway. I really try to only keep it there if I need it or to spend it somewhere else. So minimal approach to the local banks, but I still want to support them. I hope and pray that they can make it through. But when you see the larger money moving to the bigger banks in order to feel safer, it doesn't matter what I hold. And there it's the large money that they're able to leverage and offer their products with. That's how it works. So we'll
Yeah.
just have to wait and see. I hope they can survive.
Well, now the other interesting thing, because with these FOMC rate hikes, the first piece of the news is what the hike actually was. We already said it was 25 basis points today. The other piece is what is their long-term plan and how does Powell sound and look and act at everything in his little press conference afterwards. Well, number one, um, they still had left the overall rate hike percentage to 5.1%. And with us being at 4.75 in total right now, that would indicate that if anything, this year, there would only be room for one more 25-point rate hike if they even decide to do that. Like I said, he literally did say that they even considered pausing coming into this one. So he also contrastly said that cutting is nowhere in their purview at all right now. And he didn't foresee that happening in 2023, which I mean, I can believe by the time of the next meeting, we're going to be, it's going to be, I think that's May. I already forget now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
you're right.
May, sometime in May. So, yeah, worst case scenario, 25 next time. Best case scenario, probably they pivot and,
Or
don't
pause.
do anything. Pause, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what we could see for the rest of the year. So I mean, that pretty clearly, I mean, we're going to have, if anything, very likely one more rate hike, if any, this year, and then that's it. So I mean, for crypto, I think that's going to be very bullish. They're going to have to continue to bail out these banks and stuff like that. And we've already seen crypto really rally hardcore overall with a lot of this news. And that's with even like other news that in the bear market would have absolutely tanked everything coming in. One of the notes I had here for us is the SEC, which again, getting a Wells letter is like, your pen pal at this point, but they sent a Wells notice to Sushi Swap. I don't really know anything about what it entails or what it could do. But then the bigger piece of news that I sent to you earlier tonight, Ewok, and sent Twitter ablaze, was Brian Armstrong from Coinbase saying that they got a Wells notice as well from the SEC. So what do you make of that? And are you kind of in agreement with me that, like, I think Coinbase and Brian Armstrong are probably better equipped than anybody to take this on?
At this point, yes, I believe Coinbase is probably the strongest proponent that we have, that'll fight without us having to do anything. However, they are also very compliant,
Right.
at the same time. So I hope they don't kind of meet in the middle and sell part of their soul, so to speak, instead of all of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think the big thing that from what I read, what Brian Armstrong, he had like a 7 or 8 tweet segment there. They're going after the staking. Still,
Right.
is that was the main gist of what he was saying. And he said when we onboarded and we went public, whatever it was, a year and a half ago, we went through all the regulations. We did everything. We dotted the I's. We crossed the T's. And, we stuck to what we said we were going to do. We haven't deviated from that. We're very stringent on our rules, and we've stuck to it. So hopefully they stand their ground and push back. I think it would be set a good precedent for others to see, and maybe even piggyback if Coinbase can get through this, and hopefully they don't even have to pay a fine. If it was approved once, then I don't see why they should be going after them now. You can't change the rules halfway through the game. It just doesn't work that way. So I hope they stand their ground and fight back. The other one we saw was Justin Sun. They are really going after him. However, that's all more along the lines of wash trading. There was some shady stuff going on with was it FTT? BTT,
I think so.
It was, BTT,
Yeah.
maybe a token. Either way, they, Tron and this other token, they were saying that they were wash trading and manipulating the markets. So that I could see, that we don't need a bunch of funny stuff happening, and so understandably so, he's been a little shady. But like I said to you, though, we're kind of all in this crypto space together. Some of the people we don't like, some of the people are a little shady, but you don't want to set a precedence for them to get cocky about their rulings either, because then they just start coming after everybody. Well, this person did this, but this isn't quite as bad. We're going to go after them too. So at some point we are going to have to all stand our ground and get in our Congress or representatives corners and urge them to fight for us if there are any that still support crypto. So
Right. Well, back to your Coinbase point, I think it's kind of a catch-22 type thing, or whatever I'm trying to say here with them, because like you said, yeah, we think Coinbase is probably the best equipped to be able to deal with this and beat the SEC. But that may also be because of the fact that they've been compliant in the past, where it's like, come on, what are you guys trying to do at this point? Like we've played ball with you more than anybody has.
Yeah.
If you look at the opposite end of the spectrum, and I'm not being critical, I'm just stating a fact because I really like Kraken, but Kraken, and is it Jesse Powell? Am I making that up? Am I thinking of Jerome Powell? I don't know. That runs Kraken.
Yeah, it's Jesse something. It might be.
Okay. But they have kind of always taken a more, Jesse Powell, Rage Against the Machine kind of libertarian type view on this. They haven't been as button up, kind of corporate-ish as Coinbase. I'm just stating the facts. I'm not like saying that one is better than the other.
Right.
That's why Coinbase has gotten a lot of criticism, frankly, from crypto people. Why Kraken may have been more supported, but then again, Kraken's already lost staking here in 2023. Not that we don't think ever should have been doing that anyway. But and then today I sent you this email that I received. I don't know if you got one too, and anybody else that uses Kraken, but they starting March 27th are supposedly for a little while pausing ACH transfers and deposits, withdrawals of any kind. So like the easiest way to onboard cash into Kraken, if you want to trade, make a quick trade or whatever with less fees, won't be there. Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's horrible. And I don't know the specific reasons for that. I think it probably has to do with like a way they don't want to be compromised with banks in the background or something. I don't know the full details. It was just kind of a
So their ACH is kind of like when you say I'm going to deposit money from my account into theirs. It may take a few days to clear, but very low fees, right?
So it's basically it will clear right. It's the same thing as like Coinbase. Like the cash will be there immediately. And then they may just put a hold on it until you can transfer it out. But the benefit of doing that is you can fund your account with USD and then trade for cents, like 80 cents into whatever you want to. You still, I believe, can still do an immediate buy, but it's like 5 times the fees. I mean, it would be like a $4 or $5 fee right away. And then withdrawals, I don't think there's any ACH. So any way to do it. So, I mean, that's a problem to me. I mean, I won't deal with that. So
I haven't tried in or out in a while that way. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I have available or anybody. I didn't get a letter. I don't do much with Kraken. I have an account, but I don't use it much.
Maybe they just did it to me. Maybe they just singled me out or something. Then I don't know. But hey, let this be a lesson to you. And this is something that's been a theme for the last couple of weeks with all this garbage going on with the banks. This should always be a best practice of yours in crypto. Have multiple on and off ramps everywhere you can. I mean, ideally, we'd have more reliable exchanges out there. To be able to do this, that are more on the up and up and stuff like that. But have as many exchanges that are reputable that you can get into and off of. And I like to have a bevy of banks that I can roll into when I want to and roll out of when I want to. And I'm with you, Ewok. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff sitting in banks, but, to park your cash sometimes. I'm not a stable coin guy, really. I've talked to you about that before too. So give yourself flexibility, give yourself liquidity. It's one of the most important things, I think, in this game.
Agree.
So,
and something else that you guys may want to look into, and I don't know, it's a easier off ramp. I've talked about it before, but I do know Crypto.com has the credit card that you can preload. And when it goes into that, essentially, it's like a Visa card that looks like a pre-purchased gift card type thing. So I don't know that it's really tied to crypto, and the amount you can spend is a fair amount. So, something that maybe you want to look into now before problems happen. That way, if you do end up selling any of your crypto and you want to purchase something or take a little bit of profits, you can do it that way as well. So just keep that in mind. It's might be another option for you. Again, some people are anti-crypto.com because it is what
Tom
it is.
Brady.
But yeah,
Actually, wait, was he ever? No, I might have made that up. Sorry, Tom
no,
Brady. Matt
that was
Damon, I guess is
FTX.
yeah, Matt
So
Damon was in the Crypto.com commercial, but
I
yeah.
saw a rumor today that Giselle is dating Vitalik.
Oh my God, get out of here! That would never, no way.
I
No,
swear.
that's not possible.
Well,
I can't even remotely imagine that.
I don't know how true it was. I didn't see a picture or anything like that, but there was.
You think Vitalik has what it takes to woo a model more than what Tom Brady had?
Well, I don't know. She's already got money. Maybe he's got a big schlong. Maybe he's got a Red Bull
Well,
can.
maybe he does. Have you seen the pics? I mean, you saw the pics.
No, I don't think I've seen.
No, you know what I'm talking about. That whatever event that was at, that he was, this picture. That event he was at with that weird hat on, standing next to a chick, and he had a major boner going.
I
You don't
didn't see
remember?
that. No.
Yeah, I know you have seen that. Anybody watching right now in the chat, you guys have definitely seen this pic. If you have seen the Vitalik pic I am talking about, just write a 1 in the chat and enter. I don't know how many people are watching right now.
There goes my search history. Vitalik boner.
Dude, you probably don't even have to type in boner. Just type in. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna find it right now. I'm just gonna type in Vitalik and go to images. Oh, come on. Prove me right here. See, the internet's trying to hide that one. They're trying to.
Of course,
Vitalik must have got in here and suppressed the searches.
Maybe Giselle said, "You better put that away."
Maybe she did. Like, that's mine now. I don't want that on display. I'm gonna have to type in Vitalik boner. Hold on. Come on now. There we go. Yeah, there's even parodies of it. There's another guy that's. I cannot believe you have not seen.
I have not seen it.
Get out of here, man. Okay. Anyway, chat, if you like the Vitalik pick I'm talking about, hit the like button. We very much appreciate it. Look it up and DM it to Ewok on Twitter so he can see the light. I'm gonna go ahead and send it to you right now. But the only other thing that we had tonight, and whoops, I sent it to the wrong person.
Oh, no.
That's fantastic.
We're going downhill. We got all this bullish pulse chain, and we're sitting here talking about Vitalik's boner.
Sent the Vitalik boner to the wrong person. Whoops. Okay, but the last thing we're going to talk about is more government garbage here tonight, and that is, so we are seeing some of the more reputable governors, senators, whatever, representatives in different states. Ron Desantis, obviously in Florida, Mark Emmer in Minnesota. Mark Emmer has really been like the premier kind of crypto guy in the government here for a little while. But they were both introducing bills to block the CBDC in Florida and Minnesota. Obviously, there's been a lot of fans of Ron DeSantis now for a while. So we have that happening. We have the announcement of this FEDNOW thing, this easy federal payment system coming in July, supposedly, which is basically going to be it's going to be like a U.S. stable coin type idea to instantly settle payments. And what they are going to do and are already doing is pitching it and positioning it as if it is this very fast, efficient way to transact. But it's also going to be a way that they can track all of your purchases, what they're doing, and then limit what you can or can't do, big brothering you, basically. So what do you make of this already happening here in 2023? I don't know how they could have picked a better name, FedNow. So yeah, what do you make of that? What, I guess some banking institutions will have it, and it'll, at first be up to like customers whether they want to use it or not. I'm sure a lot of my millennial friends will jump at it because they're idiots. But yeah, what do you make of it? And what do you make of the efforts by the DeSantises and the Emmers to block this thing?
Well, first of all, I'm happy with DeSantis, and he basically came right out and said, we will not be a part of the CBDC. Florida will not support it. And we all know that's what FedNow is. It's the preamble to the CBDCs. We really just have to get out there and educate people on what this stuff really is, what it means, how they can control it, and how they can control what you spend it on. You know, it goes back to the people are not going to believe you till it happens. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be another case of that. They're going to support what the government does because, oh, they're looking out for us and they've got our best interest. And, that's why they do this stuff. They're trying to protect us from the banks or whatever it may be. Some people have these lucid, crazy opinions of how the government tries to help us. And I just worry. I think for us though, going forward, is we have to just warn people. I want to at least tell as many people that I know about what's about to happen, and when they see this stuff, that they shouldn't use it and they shouldn't support it. And hopefully, if we can get enough people doing the same thing, and it goes nowhere, hopefully they scrap it. That could be our scrap it early. If we beat it early, and it doesn't gain traction, they'll have to start over somehow. They're going to have to start from square one. All right, now what do we do? How do we get this in the hands? I had always thought that they would use some sort of problem or whatever it may be, to use this thing, to issue a payment to people. You know how when COVID was here and they issued all the stimulus checks, I could totally see them starting with that and saying, here, we have $1,000 for everybody, but you have to do this to get it. And you have to sign up.
Yeah.
So I worry about that because people hear free money and they're going to take it, whether, we've warned them about what this is or what, but if they can get enough people into it, I think that's going to be the first step of trying to onboard all these people into that FedNow thing. So yeah, I am happy, that Desantis is doing it. I hope more states fall in line with what they're doing and pushing back. But there's a lot of states that don't share the same values that he does, and it's scary.
I'm with you. I'm hoping that right away it's just squelched by people not caring about it, not understanding, why or anything like that. At the very least, and even something like that, I don't want to say being successful, like a FedNow, which is obviously like, again, their stable coin. Like, it's going to open people up to understanding and the idea of crypto a little bit more as well. So, look, I mean, like the people in this country are largely, there's a lot of average people that don't like to educate themselves and do what the government tells them. And they're, if they see, oh, here's a new efficient way to do something that is really easy to do, they're not going to worry about whether the government's, spying on them or could, potentially, not that they aren't on us already anyway. I mean, like none of us are really free from that, but it's just another thing to have control over you. So yeah, hopefully people do realize it. And kudos to Desantis, who's been outspoken about it recently, and Mark Emmer has been for a while. And we'll see where it goes. But you're right. This is definitely their introduction of their CBDC. So
for sure.
Terrible name. I don't know where it to me, it's so terrible because it's like smelling your own farts. Like you called it FedNow. Like, what are you? We don't care about you. We don't care about the federal government, dude. We all hate everybody hates the government these days. Like what these people need to do is band together, and instead of like being so divided over Trump, Biden, and all these different people, it's just like, guys,
come together.
Come together. Yeah, live your own life.
Sit around and sing Kumbaya.
Right. I would say that's definitely not going to happen, but
I agree.
You can wish in one hand, shit in the other, and see which one fills up first, as my dad used to say. So, So, hey, I think that's pretty much going to wrap us up. This has been a really fun night, really fun episode. Ewok, obviously, the big story is PulseChain Testnet V3 is live. Any closing thoughts from you regarding that, regarding the upcoming mainnet?
No, just get in there, and if you are going to screw around, be careful. As often as we preach security and safety and things like that, make sure you're getting your information and your RPC settings from trusted people. There are probably going to be scams almost immediately, trying to get you to connect your wallet. Maybe give up your seed phrase. Somehow they'll connect your wallet to a fake one. Please don't do that. For God's sake, if you've sacrificed even, use a scrap wallet if you're not sure. That way you don't compromise anything, any of your sacrifice funds. If you know what you're doing, then fine. But yes, please be careful. That's, we can't stress the safety enough, but there's going to be people out there to harm you, to steal your money, to get your keys, to do whatever they can, so that when the Pulse chain goes live, you're screwed. You've lost everything you sacrificed because they got it early. Just keep that in mind and be safe. But play around with it if you can. Create a fake wallet, and get in there, do what you can. Play around, do some trades, check it out. Just get comfortable with it. The more comfortable you are, the better off you'll be on launch day. So
definitely be careful of, the links you click on, what site you are connecting to. I always like to look for that little security lock symbol in the taskbar up there at the top. And, Richard, in terms of PulseChain, is obviously going to send you the links you need. He's already been doing it right now with the testnet. So if you want to go 100% directly to the source, just go ahead and do that, and don't trust anybody else,
Yep.
So
except his didn't work. So
yeah, well, the RPC didn't work anyway. At least the PulseChain link was correct. But well, hey guys, I think that will wrap us up then. Again, a great episode tonight. We will be back. We are here. We do this every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Boi Crypto. I have a YouTube channel that's based on living a minimalist lifestyle and investing in crypto. You can find me there. And Ewok, let them know where you're located everywhere.
Yep, I'm Crypto Ewok on Twitter, Crypto Ewok 5555 on YouTube. Give us a follow. If you find any enjoyment from what we're doing every week, then give us a follow, subscribe. Twitter, YouTube, pound the like button, share it. It helps. It helps the numbers. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it for sure. We will be back again next week on the 29th. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hopefully have even more to talk about with the launch of PulseChain Testnet V3. So, for my friend and co-host Crypto Ewok, this has been Boi Crypto right here on the Creed of Crypto podcast.
HexPassiveIncome.com. My friend Crypto Coffee has created what I think is probably the best course for a new cryptocurrency investor. Not only that, but these courses usually charge an arm and a leg. Crypto Coffee is only charging $200. I think right now he actually has a discount for $150. I have a link below in the description. If you are new to crypto, do not understand Hex and how it works, click the link below. It's a quick, easy course. He only gives you the basics. I personally, myself, have thought about creating an intro to crypto course in the past. I don't think there's any reason to do so because Matt, Crypto Coffee, has already taken care of that. And I don't think anything needs to be added by anybody else. So check it out. The link is in the description, and sign up to Hex Passive Income today.